The FBI has charged an FAA contractor in connection with a fire that left thousands of flights grounded in Chicago and had a rippling effect across the country. Police searched Brian Howard's home yesterday. They say he sent a Facebook message to a relative warning of what he was about to do.
Yeah, Howard apparently is accused of setting a fire in an air traffic control facility near Chicago. Now, when firefighters arrived, they found him lying on the floor, slicing his throat with a knife. He is now charged with felony destruction of aircraft or aircraft facilities, and the fire disrupted, as Joe was referring to here, more than 2,000 flights at this point. Some travelers say they may be stranded until Monday. So if you are watching us from the airport today, we are wishing the best for you.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that right now. Mark Murphy joins me on what's become just a travel nightmare for thousands of people. Mark's a travel expert, the author of Travel Unscripted. Mark, okay, we've seen chaos, frustration, even tears by these stranded passengers. Could it really take until Monday for the airlines to get everything back to normal?
You betcha. You know why? Because you have this ripple effect. That plane that was going to take off yesterday morning and go to London, pick people up in London, bring them to New York, end up in New York, go to LA. That's the ripple effect. And it literally will take 72 hours. And this happens anytime we have weather issues and we have airport delays or cancellations. It creates a ripple effect across the entire airline system and affects cities, could affect you traveling from London, just in that example. So it has a big, big impact.
All right, so let's take a look at an image from FlightAware showing aircraft flying over the Chicago area just yesterday. How is it that one guy, just one guy, can put an FAA tower into such chaos?
It's called being a nut job, and unfortunately, he's a contractor. He had access to the facility, and if people want to do evil, they can certainly do that. The good news is they caught the fire right away. It did damage this forward radar control, and therefore they had to shut everything down because they've got to be able to bring those planes in safely. So those things can happen. Why this guy was working there, why they didn't catch that, there were some issues potentially in his past, we just don't know at this point. And I think that's a conjecture at this point, but we may find something as they investigate this guy.
So it's really too late to help all those travelers who have already had their flights delayed. Nonetheless, can you give us some sense of what they can do to avoid this happening next time?
Okay, first I'd say book with a travel agent, because if you booked with a travel agent, as this air deal came down, you would have been getting rerouted. So for instance, you're in Chicago, maybe you could have driven up to Milwaukee and gotten rebooked on a different airline out of Milwaukee. Maybe you could have driven even further to get where you need to go. For instance, there's an example of somebody who missed a cruise because they're not going to get out. And that's another tip. Make sure if you've got a departure like a cruise departure for your family, don't go the day of, go a couple of days out, enjoy a pre-cruise stay, and then you'll make sure that you actually get where you need to go.
Mark Murphy, all good advice. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Joe.
All righty, so think about this. We're 2 days right now to the day after she vanished.